The Aero Rover is here with the best animations amongst all the 3 versions of the rover, and in this video I will let you know everything you need to know about him, including his kit, best builds, playstyles and rotations. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Rover's basic attacks are a 4-hit combo. Let's first know how to get into Aero Rover's mid-air form. This is activated by using his intro skill, the normal resonance skill, and a special heavy attack called Heavy Attack Razor Wind. A special heavy attack can be casted by holding his normal attack after basic attack stage 3, touch counter or heavy attack. But it won't be used anyways as the skill is a more efficient way to go into mid-air. The resonance skill deals some nice damage and has a very low cooldown of 3 seconds. When going in mid-air using these attacks, Rover can cast special mid-air attacks called as Cloudburst Dance, which is a 2-stage attack, deals some nice damage and heals the team. Rover has a second resonance skill which can be casted in mid-air. The resonance skill converts all existing debuffs like Spectrofrazzle and others mentioned here into Aero Erosion in 1:1 ratio. It has a high cooldown of 12 seconds, the damage from it is only slightly higher than the normal resonance skill and it restores less concerto. Rover's forte is called as Windsting and can stack up to 120 points. He can fill his forte circuit through his mid-air attack combo, intro skill, basic attack stage 3, 4 and dodge counter. Once it is full, Rover can cast an enhanced skill which is a 2-part attack dealing a huge amount of damage and both parts restore 20 concerto each, which is huge. This attack can only be cast on ground. You need to press the skill twice, but swapping him out during the first part will cause the second part of the attack to happen immediately and the concerto gain is delayed, so you don't need to worry about triggering his outro accidentally. This attack can also be casted by pressing the normal attack after doing a plunge when forte is filled. The outro skill currently is useless as it increases the maximum stacks of Aero Erosion an enemy can receive by 3, and we don't have any team that works with this debuff. The Resonance Liberation deals a big hit and heals everyone in the team. This attack can be casted in mid-air and after the animation is complete, it places the rover on the ground, which is much better than using a plunge attack to get back to the ground. The first inherent skill gives the rover 20% attack increase after casting his intro skill, and the second one just increases the healing from its liberation by 20%. As we just saw, aside from healing, Rover doesn't have any support capabilities in their kit. All of their supporting abilities is locked behind the free 5-star sword we got during the event, Blood Pack's Pledge. This sword can only be used by the Aero Rover and gives aero damage amplification buff. At R1 it only gives 10% amplification, but at R5 this goes up to 26%, which is more than what we get from the auto buff of someone like Alto, lasts longer and doesn't get removed when swapped out. He can provide 15% aero damage bonus to the whole team with the Gush of Velkin set, but the set is in a weird position now as Rover needs another debuff applier in the team to apply Aero Erosion, and the only other debuff applier is Phoebe in her confession state. For the Rover's talent priority, most of Rover's damage comes from the enhanced resonance skill of his forte, so it takes the top priority followed by his liberation and resonance skill. Then intro skill can be leveled slightly and basic attacks can be skipped. There are 2 ways to play the rover. One is as a sustained support for buffing the aero damage of the team with the signature weapon. The second one is as a main DPS. Starting with the support build. The signature weapon is the best one as his buffs are locked behind it and it is also good for his own damage. Overture or the Sword of Voyager are other alternatives, but if you have the Aero Rover unlocked, that means you have completed the quest and there is no reason to not have his signature. And for his echo sets, there are 3 options: Rejuvenating Glow set, the Gush of Velkin and Moonlit Clouds. As I mentioned earlier, Rover cannot use the Gush of Velkin set as of now, so the Rejuvenating Glow set with the Fallacy of No Return echo skill is the best one. Bellborn Geochelon is another echo skill you can use if you don't have the Fallacy echo. The Moonlit Clouds with Impermanence Heron echo skill is viable if you are using the Rover in a spot of sub DPS. For main DPS playstyle, the best weapon to go for would be the crit weapons. Most of Rover's damage is considered as resonance skill damage, so Changli's weapon is the best in slot for him, followed by the Emerald of Genesis or Camellia's weapon. Both are pretty similar. The signature weapon is also good and becomes better once you have access to its S5. Also, if you are using a dual DPS team with another Aero DPS, it would be better to run the signature weapon as it will buff both the Rover and the other DPS. For his echo set, you might think the new set Gush of Velkin will be the best, but Rover cannot independently apply Aero Erosion, instead he converts existing debuffs. The only one who can currently do that is Phoebe, who is better used with the Spectre Rover. So the best one to use currently is a good old Sierra Gale with Nightmare Phil and Beringer. For his energy requirements, he needs around 30 to 40% to get his liberation back on time. For echo stats, crit rate or damage on the 4 cost echo, double aero damage bonus on the 3 cost and attack percent on the 1 cost echo. Moving on to his team comps. For a support playstyle, Rover takes the spot of the sustain support, providing heals and aero buffs to the team while also dealing a nice amount of damage, making him a good option with aero DPS characters like Gian or Alto. However, we currently only have S1R1 Rover, which makes his buff worse than the dedicated sustain supports like Shorekeeper, Varina or Baiji, and his damage is not enough to make up for the less buff, but he's still viable in such teams. For a DPS playstyle, since most of his damage is from resonance skill, JG becomes the best support for him, buffing his damage while also dealing nice personal damage. Cantarilla is an alternative for JG. Alto is an amazing option giving aero damage amplification. Indian can also be used for off-field damage. And the last slot will be a sustain support like Varina, Shorekeeper or Baiji. Moving on to his rotation. The rotation for both the playstyles will almost be the same. However, for the support playstyle, you won't have his intro ready for his first rotation. So I will also mention a no intro rotation. Okay, so we first start with his intro skill, which will put him in mid-air. Use the 2 mid-air attacks. You can optionally use the mid-air resonance skill here, but it can be skipped unless you wish to convert debuff to aero erosion or to get the Emerald of Genesis buff. Use his ultimate, then use the skill to go back in air. Use the mid-air attacks again. Plunge and use the Forte enhanced skill, which you can optionally swap cancel. Use his echo and outro. If you are not swap cancelling the Forte attack, make sure you press the skill twice to do the second part of the attack. And while swap cancelling, if your outro is ready, make sure you use the echo skill and swap cancel it. Even if you accidentally trigger his outro buff before using his echo skill, it is perfectly fine to go back to the rover and use his echo skill, as there is no buff that gets removed once swapped out. With the Phalian Beringal echo skill, you can use it at the beginning of the rotation, but for Fallacy of No Return or the Bellborn skill, use it at the end. It is highly likely Rover might miss some of his mid-air attacks, especially against small or mobile enemies, so you need to adapt and do some extra mid-air attacks to make up for the missed ones by using his resonance skill. And for rotation without his intro, we need to make up for the lost 20 Forte points from his intro. When you swap into him, the rover starts with his basic attack stage 2, so we take benefit of that to cast his basic attack stage 3 and 4 to get 20 Forte points. Then use his skill into 2 mid-air attacks, mid-air resonance skill which is optional, ultimate, skill again, mid-air attacks twice, plunge and use the enhanced skill which can be optionally swap cancelled. Make sure you use echo skill before outro. If you get interrupted at the initial part, don't worry, you can cast the 4th basic attack hit again after his plunge attack. Moving on to his sequences. The first sequence gives him resistance to interruption while casting his mid-air attacks. The second sequence is just more healing. The real damage increase starts from his third sequence, which gives him 15% aero damage bonus. The fourth sequence increases his resonance skill damage by 15% for 5 seconds after casting his mid-air attack. The fifth one gives 20% damage multiplier increase to his liberation, and the sixth sequence gives 30% increase to his Forte enhanced resonance skill. The Aero Rover is a nice combination of sustain support and damage, and since he is in mid-air, he can negate some enemy attacks. However, this also causes a problem of missing some hits against small or mobile enemies. His best weapon is completely free and he has an unique aero erosion mechanics in his kit, but as of now, Aero Rover feels incomplete. He doesn't have a team that can take benefit of his entire kit or let him use his entire kit, as he needs a second debuff applier for his aero erosion. And there's no character that benefits from the aero erosion. His buffing potential when compared to other sustain supports is also low, especially due to the fact that we only have his S1R1. The other two versions of the Rover, Havoc and Spectro, currently are better in terms of meta. However, this doesn't mean that the Aero Rover is bad, it is just that it's not his time yet. There's a high chance of having a future character that can benefit from the entire kit of the Aero Rover, just like Phoebe and Spectro Rover. Let me know in the comments what to think about Aero Rover. Personally, I'm having a lot of fun using him as a main DPS. And that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. Thanks for watching.